Thanks for joining me, everyone. Charles Moskowitz here. Like most Americans right now, my wife and I are isolating at a remote location. My daughter has returned from a semester abroad, and she's at our home, and she appears to have the virus. We don't know for sure, but she's okay, thank God. Everything is okay. We're in touch with her, and she doesn't want to expose us because we're older. So we have gone to another location, and we are trying to encourage her and help her to recover. I think the worst is over, but she'll be certainly there for at least another week, and we'll be here. So, like all of us, we are really experiencing major changes, temporarily. And I think that, first of all, I want to thank God that Donald J. Trump is the President of the United States. Some of the left-wing comments I'm hearing from people like Mayor de Blasio and Ariana Cortez, whatever her name is, in Congress, and others, Tom Hartman, is that if we had had a liberal president right now, we probably would have a martial law. We would have had a nationalization of American industry. We would have had properties and businesses seized by the government. We probably would be in concentration camps. I don't mean that in the sense that the Nazis, but I mean just forcibly going to locations and being held as virtual prisoners. Right now we're voluntary prisoners, I suppose. But I think it's safe to say that President Trump has been very careful and very judicious in his application of federal power. Having said that, he has expanded federal power. But I believe that he is of the mind that such expansion is temporary and is strictly in place to deal with immediate emergencies, and that we'll go back to the status quo ante afterwards. However, as American citizens, we all have to be vigilant because power is power. And as Lord Acton said, absolute power is corrupt, Power is force, and absolute power is absolute force. Something to that extent. Anyway, there is a very serious aggregation of federal power right now, and state power, that there can be a declaration of emergency. One of the few positive things that's coming out of this, several things. One is that we can now see that massive regulation can be set aside to deal with an emergency. Doctors can now go over state lines to practice. The HIPAA laws, which are huge, it's like a library filled with laws, can be put aside to deal with the emergency. And other same such laws, which hopefully will lead to the government re-examining these laws and maybe putting most of them, if not a lot of them, aside for good, so that our doctors and our medical professionals and our free market can function without these kind of tethers on it. We also see the Federal Reserve issuing currency interest-free, which is really how currency ought to be issued. Why should the Federal Reserve and the banks get interest for creating American currency? The American dollar should be issued interest-free by the Treasury Department. If the Fed wants to serve as an advisor, fine. But they should never be earning money on money. They should earn money from lending it to businesses and individuals who qualify and collecting interest. But they shouldn't be earning interest on the money itself. That is our money. It's not a Federal Reserve dollar. It should be American dollar, a Treasury dollar. So the currency has reverted to its proper constitutional function, which is an interest-free instrument of exchange that reflects the values of the people. And that while the currency is being inflated to deal with the emergency, Once the emergency is over, and I think that the economic indices are sound in this country, especially since Trump became president, then the economy will come back, and the excess capital that had been issued, while it may be briefly inflationary and there may be a slight recession, the money will reestablish its value based upon increased production. So I think we all ought to sit tight, not touch investments, not touch anything like that, because it'll all come back in due time. And I think this is also an opportunity for us to learn the importance of national sovereignty. You know, the reason Russia, for example, has very few virus cases is because they immediately shut their borders to both China and Europe. It took the European Union only until yesterday to finally shut their borders after thousands of deaths. Does this not tell us that the right of a nation to control its own borders, whether it be from immigrants or from foreign dangers, whether they be viruses or enemies of any kind, is a natural right, and it's a progressive idea. So I hope we can learn that lesson. And I hope this is, if we understand it properly, is a major setback for the world order movement, a movement that will never go away. It's been here since the beginning of time. It's been here since Nimrod, according to the Bible, but which can be set back, maybe even a generation, so that we can further advance the idea of individual sovereignty and national sovereignty. So those are my thoughts today. Let's stay safe. Let's ride this thing out. I hope it's only a week or two. They say that warm weather tends to kill the virus, so let's hope for warm weather and moisture. As you can see, we're getting moisture right now, so that's good. And I'm just working on my website, archiving things, charlesmoskowitz.com, if you want to check it out. And have a very safe day, everyone. Thanks for watching.